Have you ever stopped to wonder why you do the things you do? You know, the stuff you do almost without thinking? Well, it turns out our lives are pretty much driven by this hidden force, this powerful engine that's always running in the background. Today, we're going to pop the hood on that engine and really get into the science behind it, the power of habit.
Okay, to really get this, we have to talk about Lisa Allen. I mean, just look at this transformation. On one side, you have a woman in her mid-20s who was honestly struggling. She was obese, a smoker, and buried in debt. But the person scientists met just a few years later, a totally different human being. She was a marathon runner, financially stable, and just thriving.
So that's the big question, right? How does someone pull off such a radical, life-altering transformation? What was the one single decision that kicked off this incredible chain reaction? Well, it all started at her absolute rock bottom. After a really painful divorce, Lisa takes this impulsive trip to Cairo. And she's in her hotel room, totally jet-lagged and miserable, so out of it that she actually tries to light a pen, thinking it's a cigarette. And in that one moment of just total despair, she makes a vow. She decides she is going to come back to Egypt and trek across the desert. And she knew to do that, she had to make one massive sacrifice. She had to quit smoking.
And that's the real mystery here, isn't it? How did quitting smoking somehow lead to her losing 60 pounds, digging herself out of debt, and even starting a whole new career? The secret, it turns out, is baked into the science of how our habits are built in the first place.
So the answer is actually found in this surprisingly simple, three-step neurological loop that our brains are running constantly, totally on autopilot. Understanding this loop is the first real key to taking back control. Okay, so first up, everything starts with a cue. This is just a trigger that tells your brain, hey, it's time to go into autopilot. A fantastic example of this comes from the old Pepsodent toothpaste ads. They weren't really selling whiter teeth. No, they sold the feeling of that gross film on your teeth. That feeling, that became the cue. And that cue immediately triggers the routine. This is the habit itself, the actual action you take, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional. So in the Pepsodent case, the routine was super obvious. You feel the film, you brush your teeth. Simple. And finally, part 3, the reward. Now this is where Pepsodent got really clever. They added ingredients that created a cool, tingly feeling. That clean sensation was the reward that made your brain go, ooh, I like that. Let's remember this loop for next time.
And there you have it, folks, the habit loop. Cue, routine, reward. This simple little cycle is the engine that drives so many of our daily behaviors, from how you tie your shoes to why you find yourself grabbing a cookie every single afternoon at 3 p.m.
But wait, it's not just a dry mechanical process. There's one more secret ingredient in this recipe, something that really locks this loop into place and makes it so incredibly powerful. The whole loop is powered by craving. Your brain actually starts to anticipate and desire that reward before you even get it. It's like the story of Febreze. The product was a total flop at first. It only became a massive bestseller when they added a clean, fresh scent to it. Suddenly, people started craving that scent as the reward for cleaning a room. And boom, the habit was locked in.
Okay, so we get the science behind the problem. But now for the good part, the solution. How do you actually go about changing a bad habit? Well, this right here, this is the master key.
The golden rule of habit change is this. You can't just fight a bad habit. You can't just erase it. You have to redesign it. You have to transform it into something new. Let's look at Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a perfect example of this in action. The cue, that feeling of stress or anxiety, that stays exactly the same. And the reward people are desperately seeking, that feeling of relief and companionship, that also stays the same. The only thing AA changes is the routine. Instead of drinking, they give you a new behavior. Go to a meeting, call your sponsor. See? Same cue, same reward, brand new routine. It's genius.
But even with this golden rule, change can be really fragile. You know, life gets tough, stress hits, and it is so easy to fall back into those old, comfortable patterns. There's one final piece of this puzzle we need to talk about.
For a new habit to truly stick, especially when you're under pressure, you have to genuinely believe that change is possible. And let's be honest, trying to generate that belief all on your own, it can feel completely impossible.
And that is why community is such a game changer. Belief becomes real when it's shared. That's the secret sauce in groups like AA. It's not just about learning a new routine. It's about being surrounded by living, breathing proof that change can happen. That shared belief is what makes a new habit stick for good.
So let's zoom out for our final section here. Because these same principles, They don't just apply to individuals like you and me. They actually scale up to shape entire companies, huge organizations, and even social movements.
This brings us to a really cool idea called keystone habits. These are small, seemingly minor habits that end up setting off this huge domino effect of positive change. A great story is about Paul O'Neill, who took over the struggling aluminum company Alcoa. He didn't come in talking about profits. He focused on one single keystone habit: worker safety. And that one change created this cascade of improvements in everything from communication to efficiency that completely transformed the company culture and sent profits through the roof.
See, the way keystone habits work is by creating small wins. These little victories start to build momentum. They're proof that bigger goals are actually within reach, and that creates a culture where positive change starts to feel contagious. It just keeps rolling.
Over a century ago, the psychologist William James really nailed it. He said, our habits aren't just these tiny, insignificant actions. They're the actual architects of our destiny. They're what give our lives their shape, for better or for worse.
And that's maybe the most powerful thing to take away from all of this. Your habits are not your destiny. They're choices. The moment you understand that hidden loop, the cue, the routine, the reward, you get the power to be the architect of your own life. You can redesign the patterns that are holding you back. So the real question isn't whether or not you can change, it's what will you choose to become?